Hi and welcome to episode 4 of my Factorio tutorial. Last episode we built our neat little starter base here. It's a very minimalistic design. It only features the bare necessities. We're not pre-producing any machines here like assembling machines or furnaces. I mean, if you wanted to, you would be able to produce a lot more. But for now, it's okay if we proceed like that. Alright, so next topic on the list is going to set the core for our real factory, because this is a baby factory. This is basically the hatchling of a real factory. Right now our energy grid is really working out. We don't need to produce more steam engines here, but we certainly will. But for today, I'm going to look with you into the furnaces here. A furnace will produce, has a crafting speed of 1, and I'll furthermore use the MaxRateCalculator because for me it's a way easier tool to evaluate the numbers compared to what the game has to offer. We could also make a readout out of this where we calculate with a 3.2 second crafting time of this item, or I'm going to look at this ratio table here. So overall, we want to achieve the following. We want to produce a smelter, or I want to produce a smelter array which features a completely full packed belt of iron plates. So if we look at that belt, it is able to transport 15 items per second. That makes 7.5 items on this side of the belt and 7.5 items on the other side of the belt. I know half an item is a theoretical value, but that's just how it goes. So if we look up at these muchachos here, they are outputting 3.438 iron plates. Well, let's make that 3.4 per second. So this belt is far from being completely filled. So now we could whip out our calculators or paper, whatever you prefer, or we could just get into the Helmod and we could ask our Helmod how to achieve a output of 15 iron plates per second. I use this tool because it calculates for me and it's really comfy. You can do that on your own. You can do that with a piece of paper, but I prefer this. So here we have it. It's quite simple. We're going to need 48 stone furnaces, which will output the iron ore we need. So the iron plates we need. So this is going to be what we're striving for. Also, to satisfy this whole array for a longer time, we would also need a sufficient amount of mining capacity here. Each of these miners produces half a unit of ore per second. As we can see here, we're going to need 15 units of ore per second, so that makes up for 30 miners. That's what we're going to produce next. Yes, 30 miners. Apart from that, maybe we're going to set up a machine to build those miners for us, because honestly, that's quite a lot of miners, don't you think? So let's check it out. The starter base is not completed with this episode. I think we're going to go through the starter base quite for a longer time, but let's take everything step by step. So for the electric mining drill, we need electronic circuits, gear wheels, and iron plates. So we have our electronic circuit production running over this area here. Maybe we're going to expand it by putting down a blue inserter here. And I could just do... Maybe it works. I don't know yet if it works, but we can definitely grab the iron plates, the electronic circuits from here, and the iron plates from here. Now, the only thing we're missing would be the iron gear wheels. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, don't you think? But we're going to be able to tackle that. I'm just going to expand this into this direction here. And now we're going to place down this guy here, and he's going to produce the iron gear wheels for us. And they're a happy family. I think we're going for a fast inserter, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we would need 2.4 basic inserters to get the amount of iron plates into that machine. With a fast inserter, we can do that with one. But, oh, actually... Okay, so let's check out the amount of inserters needed here. So, also for the iron plates, it would need 3 of those yellow inserters. That's why I keep using these tools so much, because I think it's pretty hard to calculate as a human how the 864 degree rotation speed per second compares to the 302 degree per second. I mean, basically, this number only means how many times per second this thing is able to rotate. But honestly, I would prefer a rotation per second readout, but that's only me. Whatever. I didn't want to go into these details, but sometimes it just gets the better of me. Okay. We're now producing a few electric miners. We're going to limit the wooden chest here, because you certainly don't want to produce thousands of these things. So, this is going to produce for us the machines we're going to need to mine out the ore. Since I'm having a stone patch here and no real proper use for that, I'm going to expand the stone belt towards this direction here. And maybe one more there. It's not really necessary, but whatever. Okay. So I'll need a few more iron plates. So I'm going to even produce a machine to produce stone furnaces. Most of the time I handcraft them, but for the sake of tutorial issues, I'm going to produce a lot of things more. Oops. So we are going to... Well, that's all. So I'm going to... oops. Limit this chest to 2 slots because furnaces you need in vast quantities, so 2 stacks should be quite good. There was also the heavy armor we researched. For heavy armor we would need steel. Steel is quite easy to produce, but very resource intense. So let's just research the projectile damage for now. It's also a very useful thing to do. I'm going to produce steel later, because right now I don't feel like producing steel. So we're going to dismantle this thing here later, I think. I have to grab that iron. Okay. So we have a lot of mining drills already produced, and these are also produced. So what's lacking now are only assembling machines, and well, it goes it works like quite similar. Just considering the following. Since... Okay. Since I'm obviously needing the space, I'm going to let these guys run over here. I mean, inserters and belts are certainly something I want to have. And now I'll have... Yeah, that should be working out. So now I have the room to put down a assembler next to this electronic circuit belt and grab them with a long-handed inserter. Next up will be the iron plates we're going to need, and from this spot on we're going to build another assembler. There's only the iron gear wheels missing, so we're going to replicate the system here. Maybe I would want to build a blue inserter array. Maybe. But well, right now I need a lot of blue inserters, but most of the time you don't need that many, honestly. Blue inserters are quite often necessary for the more for machine building assemblers, where you need quite high amounts of goods in one machine. But oops, that was the wrong recipe. We want gear wheels, of course. So there we go. Oh, I hate it. Oh well, we're going to have better power poles later in the game, but for now I have to live with this. Or maybe I can do it at least smarter. Ah, that's better. Okay. So now I have pretty much everything. I have the assembling machines. I have miners. The only thing I'm really not having is enough iron. Honestly, right now, I might as well not split it. Honestly, why are we splitting this? Maybe I had some other thing in mind in the past, but this is not going to happen. So as you can see, we're really not getting anywhere here. The production is going through the demands are going through the roof, but that's not really a problem because we wanted to grow out of this place anyways. So one thing I wanted to drop down were 1 or 2 gun turrets though, because we're producing pollution by burning petrochemical substances and fossils and whatever. So oil, coal, and basically a lot of things you do produce pollution, and this makes the inhabitants of this planet angry. And at some point they are so angry that they're going to try to kill your base, including you. So that means I'm going to drop down a few gun turrets in the vicinity of pollution-producing industries, just to prevent the random alien destroying my base. So it's that. Can't even remember if I set this game on peaceful settings or not, but I'm going to illustrate it even if the aliens are not attacking me. But I think I went for a normal game experience. So right now I'm stealing a few iron plates from my array because I need. Okay, so we have now all the necessary things available. We're going to have the need of 30 electric miners, and I can already assume that we're not going to be able to drop all 30 here in this area. Pretty sure this is not going to happen. Also, I'm going to place these guys somewhere else because I need access to the iron patch. I can't tolerate this. I'm sorry, friends. Made sense back then, but we now need it differently, so... Did I really forget that inserter the whole time? It seems to me like that. I'm sorry. Okay. So the only thing we're now missing is a way to transport these things over there. So we're going to have to reconnect this in a meaningful way. Okay. Yeah, well, it still blocks out a little bit of the iron production here, but it's not that terrible anymore. So when you're accessing an iron, a mineral patch, most of the time I ask myself, do I build my miners in the vertical or in a horizontal array? This is mainly defined by the form of this patch. Since this is pretty much a square, both both would make sense. But since I'm already having this area here claimed by my starter base, I'm going to stay with the vertical arrangement. I'm going to go deeper into that topic later, so it'll make more sense, don't worry. So, as you can see, at this point, I want to get this ore patch completely. Really, I want to get everything. So I'll draw virtual lines here. I'm starting at the outer rim of the field. So this would be these particles here. These are the outer rim. So forgive me, I need to put down a little bit more research. Tool belt is quite handy. Increases my inventory slots. So back to the topic. So this is going to be my first miner. The ring around the machine shows how far the mining area goes. So since there are here some iron particles as well, we need to do as follows to get the full array at the full patch. So I'm going to drop down my first mining machine here, and then we're going to proceed. I'm going to place them really close together because I feel like this is some way how I could achieve the 30. So as you can see here now, we're not able to put down anything here, so we have to break or rule a little bit. So there we go. And now I'll just keep proceeding. Well, here I'm going to do like this, because we are grabbing this from this guy and this from this guy, so we're fine. Okay, but this stuff down here doesn't get grabbed by anybody, so I'm going to let it run like this, because otherwise I would just drop down 2 machines, and that would be actually a waste. So there we are. We have 15 machines in total, which are producing 7.5 units of iron ore. So we're not there yet. I'm going to go over here, and here's the last few units of iron ore. So we need another of these guys over here, and there we go. So there's our 30 miners. That's what we're going to need to build our first smelter array. Alright, so now I'm going to build the belts. In this situation, it's a little bit unfortunate, but this doesn't make any change to the productivity or efficiency of your array if you let it run like this. So you're totally fine when you go like this. But this doesn't work out, actually. I need to go like this. We need to get into the this from that direction here. So we're going to use a splitter here, and I'm going to mix this now. So to achieve this, I'm going to do a little bit more of a complicated thing next. So I want to achieve one piece of belt which is completely packed on both sides. So we're going to put down this guy here, and this guy will get a connection from the upper belt and the lower belt, and this way we are producing a formation where the upper side of the belt gets loaded by this, and the lower side of the belt gets loaded by this. This is by no means really even, because we don't have the even amount of machines, but honestly, one thing about Factorio, you can optimize the hell out of this game. I would advise you strongly, if you want to maintain the fun and if you don't want to go too hardcore into the game, be happy with about 80% efficiency. Everything after that will just, well, it's art if you do that. I admire people doing that, but it's also a serious pain in the rear. So this works out fine enough for me, but this is not ideal. Ideal would be an array where I would be putting 15 miners on one belt and 15 miners on the other belt, and then we would have the perfect mixing. Until one of the miners runs dry and the whole house of cards collapses. So, permanent maximum efficiency is something which is quite hard to achieve in this game. Keep that in mind. Alright, but I start rambling. The next thing I'm really concerned about is the question, are we even able to tackle the electricity amounts? But we're going to find out. So let's turn those bad boys online. We're going to have a little bit of I think we're going to need some magic here. You see, when you pack systems that tight like I did here, it's quite hard to fit in the power poles everywhere. Like this guy is not having any energy. Since I'm not having any larger power poles available, it's going to be quite tricky. And here you see I actually did a mistake which I can't fix. So I could drop down a underground belt like this. Oh no, it's actually working. Okay, no, never mind. I talked nonsense. So with this little hole here, I just was afraid I couldn't build that. With that little hole here, we're going to power this guy here, and same thing goes over here. We're going to lead that stuff in here. Oh no, this is exactly. Now there we go. So keep an eye on putting your underground belts on the outputters here, or the stuff won't work. So there we go. Now we have everything in line. Next up will be the furnaces we need. So there we go. We finished the tool belt. Wonderful. And I'll go for the electric energy distribution tech, because honestly, I love to have bigger power poles just for situations like these. So, we're going to need a pretty big machinery here to achieve that. I already figured out how I wanted to do that. So I wanted to do my smeltering pretty much on this side, and the whole factory will move along the direction of my cursor. I go into this direction because I have access to water on these sides, and also I'm moving towards a copper and an iron ore patch, which is, if I look around here, the most profitable direction. And there's also some copper ore, and yeah, we're going to need water for a few things in the future. And for now, I'm going to let the smelter ring live over here. So we're going to do it like this. I'm going to drop down 24 of those. That's 20, and that should be 24 now. Let's use the tool to count them. Oh, I actually got fooled by this. So it was 29. Damn, no, I didn't pay attention. 26, okay. So this is one side. Keep in mind that we're having the... If I would now line the 48 in one line, I would have the problem that I would be outputting the iron plates all on one side of the belt, and the belt would collapse because I would be trying to put 15 units on a side of the belt which only carries 7.5 units. So we have to do it like this and build another column of these guys on this side, or it will be not as ideal. And now we're going to let one belt... Oh, that was two. No! I left not enough space between those. 3 squares are usually the stuff you want to have. So 1, 2, 3. So that's basically 1 for the belt and 2 for inserters on each side. Okay, now we're going to do this. quite tedious, I know. But later in the game you'll get construction robots which can do the job for you. And that's where we will use blueprints more. But until then, the only thing a blueprint would do for you would be marking out a ghosted figure of the array for you, so you could just put the stuff in there. So, but you still would be needing to put it in there manually. All right. So I want a few more units of inserters. Well, no, I don't really need anything. Why did it go over there? You see, I'm that used to run low with resources that I'm going over there, even though I don't need anything. But what I do need is coal. I'm going to pick up a few more of those miners. Whoops. Oh. But since I'm having already this little belt over here, I'm just going to expand that a little bit with a few more machines. So let's check out a power grid though. If you click on these masts, you see the readout of the power grid. Everything's fine. So one last check into the Helmod shows me I'm needing 1.1 units of coal to fire up these guys. Every one of these dudes produces half a unit of coal. So I added 2 units of coal per second extra. We should be fine. Also, I'm going to increase the production of my power plant and a little bit in the advance, just so I don't forget it later. So we're going to grab the coal line here and going to let that run over here. I hope. Well, maybe. No, no, no! It's polluting. So, obviously, this is all too tight and narrow. My plan doesn't work out. So, as you can see, I often try things which don't work, but I hope you'll get used to it. So, I'm going to use a splitter here to split off the coal here and make a comfortable little thing here. So with the coal, I'm going to have this policy. This is the power input for the furnaces, so this goes all the way down here, takes a little turn, gets underground belted over here, and returns on this side. There we go. Since we don't need too much of the coal, I'm going to let this run like that. But with the iron, I'm going to do a little bit of a different approach. So with the iron, I'm going to actually split the belt in two, and not let that run in a circle, because the longer the transport way, the higher the chance of creating bottlenecks in your factory. So we're going to make it like that, and from there on like that. There we go. And now we're going to use long-handed inserters to pick up the iron on from the faraway belt. And the regular ones for the closer belt. And as you can see, now I can finally just hold the mouse button and run. So it's quite relieving to hit that point. So once you hit the construction robot H, you can just make a blueprint out of this and let the robots do your bidding. But we're pretty far away from that point of the tutorial, so I'm doing a lot of handwork here to show you how the early game actually works if you're not using any mods. So we're now ready. Let's power it up, shall we? It's always I don't know how many modules I build for my factories, but there's always this moment of quiet anticipation when I plug in the power for some machinery. I don't know. So, oh yeah, of course. So we're not no, we're not finished yet. So there's another necessity if you build like that, which we need to get through here. So as you can see, I'm having the same problem as I had with the mining facilities. I have no chance of providing power to the faraway inserters. So what I'm going to do is the following. We're going to make a similar thing as with the miners. So we need a lot more resources in the future, but also in the present I'll need a few more units of belt. 100 is really not enough for my taste. And I'll need a lot more underground belts, especially those underground belts I had in mind. Let's handcraft a few power poles. So what we're going to do is a quite ungrateful task, I'd say. So we're going to make sure we're going to like this. Okay. So I'll put an underground belt between each of the yellow inserters. There we go. Because the red ones are able to grab from quite far away tiles. And this way, now we're dropping down the power poles. There we go. So, same thing we have to do on the other side. Excuse me. We're going to research logistics too next. Very, very good technology. So, this is running from this direction, so I have to start from the bottom, or else I'll get this wrong. So same thing, an underground belt for every yellow inserter. So I researched the power pole technology that early due to this reason. I just wanted to build one of these machines like that, so whoa, I completely... So I don't have to do things like this, which will completely wreck up my factory. I completely misplaced that. You noticed that, right? Pretty sure you noticed that earlier than me. Of course, I'll have to do this with the coal belt. I was just on the wrong belt here. You see, that's why people love to use blueprints. So now we have. Okay. There we go. As you can see, now I'm a little bit more secure about myself here. Don't needing that one anymore. So now we're having a proper power source. This is also the reason why I like to build my starter base arrays like this. You can go for a combination like this and leave a blank spot between two of them. This way you have room to put down power poles in between these, and you see I'm achieving a complete coverage. I just wanted to show you this array first because it's the most compact and it's quite effective. And once we have the better electric poles, we're also having no longer trouble with constructions like these. But well, it works out, so I'm happy. One thing I'm going to do for now is I'm going to set up a splitter which will provide iron to this starter base array, because I would like to start my main resource bus now, but it's not really smart to do this as of now. So really important would be for us now to feed this machine here with the proper amount of resources. So let's check out what happens here. And I think I'm going to close out this episode with this, because now we see how a effective smelter array will look like. This machine here should be maximizing the capacities of the basic transport belts. I hope I didn't do anything wrong. Feel free to point out any mistakes if you see them, but I really did my best to do good work here. Alright, so feel free to drop me comments. Like I said, I would deeply appreciate any form of support of this video, be that a like, a share to your friends, or even a subscription to my channel. Every little gesture helps. I hope you enjoyed this video. Next episode, I'm going to deepen the smeltering process a little bit more. I'm going to show you how bigger power poles make everything easier here. I'm going to talk a little bit about ore separation, maybe. So that's the things which are on the plate for the next few episodes. So hope you check out the next time. You check the next episode as well. See you guys next time. Bye bye.